will the virtuous Sangha, out of compassion for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung thính đại đức tặng thính, vì thứ pháp hội khắp nhất thiết chúng sanh, thính chuyên diệu pháp luân giao đạo ngã môn, như há liêu sanh thoát tư ly khổ đắc lạc, thức chứng vô sanh. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Nam mô Sa Đàn Thọ Su Chế Đô Ye Ở Lại Hờ Đi San Miao San Pu Tô Xế. Nam mô Tạng Đắc Tha Tu Già Đà Già La Ha Đế Tam Miêu Tam Bồ Đà Tọa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma, 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I'm able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual principles. Wu shang sheng sheng wei miao fa bai jian wan jie nan zao yu. 我今见我的手持，愿解如来真实义。Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Venerable Qingliang, Venerable YongHua, Venerable Left-Home people, and all good no advisors, Emituofo. 诸佛菩萨、清凉大士、是父上人、各位出家人、各位善知识，阿弥陀佛。chư Phật Bồ Tát kính thưa Hòa thượng Thanh Lương, Hòa thượng Tian Guo, quý thầy cô và quý vị thiện sĩ tất cả như đạo Phật. Hello everyone, thank you all for coming. Today is the 17th of April 2021. We are gathered to continue discussing the preface to the Avatamsaka Sutra written by Master Qingliang, great Master Qingliang. We're nearing the end of that preface. We're on slide number 190. Okay. The text says the Buddha is awakened to this mysterious wonder. Buddha became Buddha because he listened to the Dharma. The Buddhist Dharma is very, very profound. So thank you very much. Okay, good job. Thank you. So the Master Qingliang says the Buddha Dharma is actually a mysterious wonder. This wonderful knowledge that humanity is able to have, made available courtesy of Patriarch Nagarjuna, who brought this Avatamsaka wonder from the dragon palace back to the human realm. Before that happened, it was deemed that the humans were not worthy to receive or to take advantage of this wonderful teaching called the Avatamsaka Sutra. More than that, the Buddha is awakened to the profound principles in the Buddhist scriptures. All right? And that's how you become a Buddha. Earlier, something like last weekend, someone asked, can you become a Buddha without learning Buddhist principles? And my answer is that, of course you can, because it happened before. You can become enlightened without studying Buddhism at all. Okay? In case in point, many people outside of Buddhism, especially in Catholicism, in Taoism, they became enlightened without learning about Buddhist principles at all. Okay, those are special cases. However, typically you become enlightened a lot quicker because of these profound Buddhist principles that were passed from generation to generation for that particular purpose. In fact, Buddha's awakened means that all Buddhas throughout this universe, each galaxy is a Buddha land, meaning each galaxy was created by a Buddha. When someone becomes a Buddha, he creates this galaxy, one galaxy in this universe, so that he can repay the debts of the people that helped him when he was practicing. When he was not a Buddha yet, when you practice, when you're not a Buddha yet, you will need a lot of help. So what happened is the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas incurred a lot of debts to the people who helped them out. Okay, so, and they do it on purpose. And so after they become a Buddha, they created this Buddha lands, okay? And where these galaxies, you will, where they bring the people they owe to, make available to them to come so that they can repay them. And so in each galaxy, you will find Buddhism, okay, in each and every single galaxy, because that's how Buddhas repay the debts, by helping us become Buddhas ourselves. Okay, so Buddhism, the Buddhist principles are taught throughout the universe. Okay, so when I said that you don't have to learn about Buddhism and yet you can become enlightened, that is based on facts. However, the Buddhist principles are the pathways. Whether you learn it in terms of Buddhist jargon or not, they're actually those principles. Whether it's in German, whether it's in Vietnamese, Korean, whatever, they contain the formulas. They contain the pathways for us to all become Buddhas. Okay, and that's through these Buddhist teachings that we all become Buddhas. YouTube has a question.
Diego asks, Maitreya Bodhisattva will be a Buddha in the Saha world, or is he gonna create a new galaxy?
This Buddha land, they call the Saha world, or the Milky Way here, as we call it, it was created by Shakmuni Buddha. Okay, so that's his Buddha land. Maitreya is the next Buddha in this Buddha land. So what happens in each Buddha land, you're going to have a succession of Buddhas who are scheduled, if you will, to come and manifest as Buddhas. They take human forms, and then they are Martian forms, if you will, and then they become Buddhas through their practices, and so that they can teach, help continue to teach living beings. And that's another way that they repay their debts. Because sometimes for those that the Buddhas owe to, okay, they cannot make it to their own Buddha lands yet. So specific Buddha lands. That's why many Buddhas would go to other Buddha lands when the conditions call for it to cross over the people they owe to as well. So Buddhas actually are not territorial at all, unlike what you think. Like we think we are America and we're separate from Ukraine, from Russia, and so forth. The Buddhas don't see any separation, okay, of Buddha lands at all. It's no territory, so it's not uncommon for other Buddhas who have their own Buddha lands to come to our world, this Milky Way, to become Buddhas. So they manifest as becoming a Buddha here, so they can teach it. So Maitreya, you probably read it in the scriptures, is waiting to become a Buddha. When his time comes, he will descend from a Tushita heaven and he becomes a Buddha. And then he will teach for one day and one night. He will cross over countless living beings. So he would come down here, practice Buddhism, and then he awakened to this mysterious wonder called Mahayana, or Buddhist principles. And he will teach for one day and one night. He'll cross over countless and countless living beings. Okay? Then he'll retire, move to the Bahamas. No? That's what people do, don't they? Okay. Anyway, and then what happens when the Buddhas move to the Bahamas? There will be no more hurricane in the Bahamas. Only hurricanes in Central America. So they all move from hurricanes moved from Bahama to Central America. That's my prediction. Okay? So Buddha is awakened to these wonderful principles called mysterious wonder. Okay? So Master Ching Liang is very, very literary. He's very erudite, very scholarly. So he called this Buddhist principle, these Buddhist teachings that we call Tripitaka in English, okay? In Sanskrit, we call it this mysterious wonder. It's mysterious because it's very profound. You cannot understand it, no matter how hard you try. Okay? You can understand parts of it only, at best. And it's wonder because the part where you can understand, you will find it so wonderful. And the more you understand, the wonder only increases. People who improve will find that, invariably, will find that the Buddhist principles become deeper and more wonderful as they improve, as their skills improve, as the wisdom increases. So that's why it's mysterious, because you get close, you still don't get it. You get closer, it's still more wonderful. It's endless. That's why it's mysterious. Okay? No matter how hard you try, you can be the most ingenious. You can be the genius of the world. I heard a prime minister. Do you know, people in our world measure geniuses by the IQ, something like that. One of the measures, one of the gauges, right? I heard that Einstein is like IQ is how much? Anyone knows? 130 or something like that. Yeah, that's all. Einstein, IQ is not that high. I heard that his IQ level is even lower than, believe it or not, the current prime minister of Israel, Netanyahu. His IQ score is 160. So he's smarter than Einstein, apparently. But definitely more corrupt as well, we hear. Never mind. Okay? So this mysterious thing here describes this profundity of the Buddhist principles. Okay? You think you understand, okay? You think you got it, you get closer, you say, oh, there's more layers and more layers. That's why it's wonderful. Wei Mao.
Yes, Master. I had a question about, it's kind of a side question, but about the Einstein. You were just talking about Albert Einstein, and he invented the atomic bomb. As far as I know, is he karmically responsible for the deaths of like a lot of people because of the invention he created?
He certainly is indirectly responsible. Okay. Just like everything in life, you have both plus and minuses. You cannot look at one side only and say that, that Einstein is responsible for these many deaths, especially Japanese ones. Okay, that's not the whole picture. Also, you have to look at the goodness that that technology also brought to the world as well. Okay, so that's what the nature of our existence is. That is always two sides to the equation. Okay, only the people who are limited would choose to look at one side only. Okay, so yes, Einstein did some was indirectly responsible for a lot of destruction to our world, but also a lot of good as well. Okay. All right. Next bullet on 190. Buddha achieved wonderful enlightenment. This wonderful enlightenment has some practical aspects of it. Okay. He's awakened to function. Okay, that's the Buddhist jargon. Function, meaning mundane truth. What is mundane truth? Mundane truth refers to worldly knowledge. All the worldly knowledge is called mundane truth. The truth about engineering, the truth about medical science, the truth about Reiki, truth about acupuncture, truth about the truth in Catholicism, the truth about that magazine called The Truth, okay, ultimate truth, whatever it is, okay. So this mundane truth here refers to worldly knowledge, all that, okay. What we call truth, what scientists call facts, okay, we call it mundane truth. All right? So think about it. The scientist, Einstein, mundane truth is only a subset of the Buddhas. Someone asked me, I said, so what's the point in practicing opening our wisdom? Well, I don't think can I contribute to the world? I'm telling you, okay? You worry about opening your wisdom, and your contribution to the world will manifest itself in your contributing to further understanding of more mundane truths. That's your contribution. That's guaranteed to happen once you have wisdom. Okay? The Buddha's wisdom is that he understands all the totality of all the worldly knowledge. There's nothing he does not understand. Okay? At our levels, we understand increasingly more of that. So we, because our limitation, need to specialize. We must be programmers, we must be dentists, we must be shrinks, must be engineers, must be carpenters, okay? That's our limitations, okay? Buddhists have no such limitations, okay? That's the mundane truth, okay? The realities, the facts of life, he understands that. All right? He also awakened next to the substance. So we have, in Buddhism, these are Buddhist jargons. Function or substance. Okay? Substance is your essence, your makeup, okay? What you're made of, okay? That is also called, Buddhist jargon, absolute truth. Okay? The mundane truth is what is called worldly knowledge, what people, the world can understand, can relate to. But it's not the absolute truth. Okay? Because the mundane truth is based on external things. Absolute truth, okay, is the absolute knowledge, is the absolute truth. That is true emptiness. It's nothing. Everything you see are basically illusions. So when you understand that everything you see is absolutely illusions that arise from your karmic retributions. Okay? So you see, for example, you see the world through colored spectacles. That's what they call mundane truth, if you will. When you remove all the spectacles, you see the world as it really is. That's called absolute truth. What is the absolute truth? Absolute truth here is the substance of the world, which is true emptiness. Okay? Our Buddha nature. Truly empty. All right? It's not something that people of the world understand. That's why it's called absolute truth. You too.
Diego asks, Master, I know this goes beyond the subject, but what do you think about Reiki? I've heard a lot of point of views, but I would love to listen about that from my Venerable Master.
I think it works for some people. It doesn't seem to work for me. So that's all I know. I heard a lot of people who had some good experience with Reiki or Reiki. What's the proper pronunciation, by the way? In all due respect, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I never really learned the proper pronunciation of that. Some people say it's Reiki, some say it's Reiki. Reiki? Reiki, I heard Reiki too. I heard Reiki as well. So, but anyway, it is, I think they use like your energy to do healing, okay? So they channel your energy to do healing. It's not, to me, it's not as advanced as Qigong, for example. Qigong also channels the energy, and Qigong has much more advanced techniques than Reiki. But if you channel energy, then you're able to do some healing. That's what interests people. I met with some people who practice Reiki in our temples, have very direct experiences with them. I remember when I was a novice, someone attended my Dharma talk after the meditation sit in Canada. And she developed a headache. Okay, so at that time there was a Reiki person, a Caucasian lady in her late 30s, early 40s, who learned Reiki from a Japanese couple, and so she learned from them. She was certified by them. So she practiced Reiki for a while. And then she came to our temple because she says, I'm looking for something more because I felt like I'm maxing out. I'm not making further progress. So I'm looking for something else to energize me. So she came to the temple and said, oh, I like this chanting here. So she came to, of all places, to my chant class, taught by a novice. That's ridiculous. I would never do that. So she came and she said, yeah, I like this. So she came regularly. And she's she's very professional about it. She never promoted her own Reiki things out of respect for Chan meditation, my little Chan meditation. But one day, one of my students, regular students, had a headache after the session. So she says, she complained about getting a headache. So this Reiki person says, I can help. So she sat that one student, disciple of Master Shenhua's temple, down in a chair, okay, leaned back, she leaned back, and then this person would do Reiki on her. So this girl has long hair, so she was pulling energy from her hair, from her head down to her hair, continually for about 20, 25 minutes, maybe more, maybe longer. And after a while, she said, how do you feel? And the other girl says, yes, I feel so much better. And so she said, see, that's Reiki. So that's my first experience with Reiki. And at that time, I was practicing the forward to hands and eyes I practiced forward to hands and eyes for about 2.5 years, 2 years approximately. Received transmission and practiced for 2 years. And so I look at that and I chuckle inside. I said, it takes you 20 minutes to do that? I can do it with my hand and eyes in a few minutes. Okay, but in our environment, we're not allowed to heal people, so couldn't do it myself. Yeah. So anyway, so I knew firsthand from that particular experience that Reiki can do for healing. So different disciplines have different ways of healings. I met a few more Reiki people, but I must admit to you, I've never been impressed by them. So I'm the wrong person to ask about Reiki. Okay, my answer is I'm not impressed. Probably because I met the wrong people. Okay, I'm sure it has its own pluses. And then later I heard that Master Shenhua also met with a Reiki master who came to the city of 10,000 Buddhas with his disciples. And they came in a big group, and Master Shenhua very nicely, very graciously met with them. These I heard only, I wasn't there. Everything I learned about Master Shenhua is from secondhand information, unfortunately. And so take it with a grain of salt. And so I was told that they stayed with Master Shenhua, that Reiki master was also very impressed with Master Shenhua. And Master Shenhua's instruction to him, okay, was that you have to stop using your hands to heal people. Don't pull like this. It's not necessary. Okay, of course. You understand it's not necessary, don't you? You don't have to be Reiki, but it's not the hands. These people don't understand. You know what happens when they do this? Can I explain it to you? I'm not a Reiki person, but I can tell you from a Chan perspective. What does it mean? This person has a headache, and you say, you pull that negative energy, headache energy from her head, right? Through her hair. So that's one way to release energy, through the hair. Is it clear to you? That's common sense, right? So you pull this energy from there to here, okay? You go like this. She was doing it, and after 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 40 minutes, she was perspiring. It's hard work for her. I look at her and say, oh, wow, this is how you do healing like Reiki. Okay. What is she doing exactly? Anyone knows? Oh. Usually you wait until I give you a prize, $100, then you raise your hand. You too new, you don't know yet. Yes, go ahead. Orange. Now,
Oh, it's work now.
okay.
I would like to guess, I think she's pulling the negative energy into her body.
That's right. Correct. How? It's the same principle the Master YongHua taught the Reiki Master, the Reiki Grand Master, whoever that person is. Same principle. I heard the stories, I said, because I witnessed it, that's what she's doing. And what I heard the story from Master YongHua instruction of that Reiki Master, said, that's what he meant. What does he mean?
Because when you do like that, you bring that person negative karma into you, and you're going to have to deal with it later.
No, you release it, not into you. They're not crazy. That's why she's pretty sick, by the way, that woman who came to study chant from me in Canada. She's not well. When you heal people, there's some consequences. They're all finding out. Okay? But that's why we're not allowed to heal. When we learn at Master YongHua's temples, we're not allowed to heal people, period. Okay? Unless we want to make more money. But anyway, so when you're doing like this, actually it's releasing that negative energy that causes a headache through the hair, okay, and out, away from the body. But what really is happening? Does anyone know? There's a tapping. It sounds like the dragon dance. Dun, 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 dun. No? Can you hear that? I think it's the high school. Yeah, okay, the park. Very good. Anyone? What does it mean? Huh? Chu.
Hello, Master. Is it meant that she using all her energy as well? And she also meddled with the problem?
Yes, I want more precise answer. That's in the ballpark. Anyone else? Let me tell you, okay? When the Reiki person does this, okay, to pull away, okay, the energy from her, you know what actually is happening? It's not the hand. The Reiki themselves taught themselves is you do it with your hands, you see? How do we do it? Not the hand. Can you see this? I'm pulling energy away from you. The Reiki train their own disciples as you use your hands, right? Because they need to impress you. You have this technique of pulling energy away from it. But actually what's happening is mentally say, I'm taking your energy and pulling you through your hair. I'm taking energy and pulling you through hair. And I go again. Hair, energy, go away from this hair thing here. You see that? That's what's happening. It's not the hand at all. It is the mind. Got it? That's why Master YongHua told that guy, you have to stop using your hands. You don't need to use your hands. They can do exactly the same thing. You can do exactly the same thing. And you can tell the Reiki person, next time you want to impress a Reiki person, I do the same thing like you, okay? But using my elbows. Okay? Isn't that cool? And they say, wow, new Reiki technique. That's why in Buddhism, you can help and there's no marks. You cannot see what we're doing because, see this? There's a reason for it. It's not BS. This is to impress people. When you do like this, you're not as strong as you do it without moving your hands. Because your mind is distracted. See this? Your mind has control of your arms. Whereas all you have to do is Think about it and will it. Got it? Now you can go and get yourself certified as a Reiki master. YouTube, go ahead.
Diego asks, Master, how can we learn the 42 hands and eyes from you?
We have to transmit it to you. Okay? All right, transmit it to him, people, please. He keeps on harassing me to death. Okay, YouTube, next.
Tian Guo asks, what is the difference in healing oneself and others? Why we get no consequence when we heal ourselves?
Whoa, what makes you think you have no consequences when you heal yourself? Okay, anything else? All right. So, of course, there's always consequences when you heal. Whether yourself or whether someone else, there's always consequences. Okay? Every single action you do is called karma. It carries consequences. You too.
Diego asks, Master, is there any way a healer can release all that karmic retribution pulled out from people they are healing?
They like to think they can, but they can't. Not healers. Okay? There's some people who actually are very good at healing. You can go to the externalists. You can go to the Tibetans. You can go to these mantra people. They have very effective dharmas to heal you, and it worked. Excuse me. It really worked. But all these healers, I know that they, excuse me, I get very emotional about this. All these people realize that if you heal people long enough, you'll become sick yourself. That's inevitable. So I remember there is a Tibetan group near Lu Mountain Temple. This is about several years ago. They came to us through a relics exhibit, and they introduced themselves. They said, the reason we came here, we brought the whole crowd. They have healers. They brought all the healing personnel, basically, over, and they would hang around the relics exhibit. They would go bow the relics, and then they hang around the relics. And they sat there hours upon hours upon hours, and they would come back day after day after day. And someone talked to them, right? Vicki, someone, right? And yeah, so why are you doing here? They said, we love the energy here. So they're sucking up all the positive energy from the relics. Okay? And so we got to talk to them. And they're all lay people, by the way. Learned from a Tibetan monk how to heal people. So they came there for help. They got some illness. They got better. And part of their healing process is they agree to get help. And then once they get help, they learn how to help others. Okay? That's their rules. You get help, then you have to make the commitment to learn the skills to help others after you. That's how they propagate their knowledge. So I thought, wow, that's a wonderful thing. And they don't charge any money, by the way. And you'd like to go, I think we still have the address, right? The contact information. So you're most welcome to go to them. And so when I heard of that, I was so happy. I said, would you mind I refer my students to you? People want to get healed to you. He said, oh yeah, please send them over to us. I said, okay, well, don't mind if I do. And I do send people to them. But then, just to be curious, I said, you worried about getting sick at home? They said, yeah, sort of. So I talked to the vice chairman of that group, okay, a layman. He'd been around for a long time. So I said, how do you avoid getting sick yourself? They said, we have a Dharma, we have a method where after we heal people, release the karmic retribution. So I said, does it work 100%? He says, probably not. So they know themselves, they cannot release all of that. My point being that unless you train how to do it properly, you can't. So the non-Buddhist people cannot release it at all. So the case in point, the Tibetan monk who taught them that technique of healing people, okay, and they use the Medicine Master Mantra, by the way, of all the Dharmas, they use Medicine Master Mantra to heal people. And that Tibetan monk who taught them that technique, okay, and it's I'm very impressed by them because they're not there to try to make money, to become famous. They really want to heal people. They do have an ideal. However, that Tibetan monk died of cancer, died early. There's a sign right there, the proof right there, that he himself cannot release the residual karmic retribution. They can release some of it, but not all of it. You heal people after people, they accumulate, and one day you'll be overwhelmed. And then you die. Okay? So I don't advise you people to go into healing at all. Okay? When you reach a certain point in your practice Buddhism, you'll be able to heal and you have no problems. But we don't even do that. Okay? It's counter nature. Yes, you too.
Tian Guo asks, can a healer use the great compassion repentance to deal with karma?
Sure, why not? It works. But up to a degree, and then because of your own limitations, most people, ordinary people, let me be blunt with you, unenlightened people don't know how to release all of it. You don't know, and you're not capable of doing that. Okay? So typically, even people who are able to do that, like Master YongHua, who is, of course, can heal you and would have to suffer practically no consequences at all. Okay? I would say he could be zero consequences if he chooses to be so, but he chooses not to do that. And that's from compassion. My late teacher, out of compassion, chooses not to release or undo all the karmic retributions from helping heal people. That's why he died early, in great pain. Okay? So, yes, in general, the enlightened people, they can do that without any consequences because they truly know how to resolve the karmic retributions that we unenlightened people cannot. Okay? You too.
Daniel asks, there has been many Catholic saints that had painful deaths. In the Buddhist perspective, were they paying for retribution?
Yes. I heard many stories of Catholic saints healing people, okay? The so-called Catholic miracles. Most of the Catholic saints are not enlightened. That's why when they have to heal, the more people they heal, the more sick they became. You too.
Tian Guo asks, what is the consequence of healing oneself? So the only way to avoid consequence is to let it heal naturally?
Well, the consequence of you healing yourself is that you don't die as quickly. Yes, or yes, yellow.
Master, I was thinking about, I think it was the Buddhist group. They were from La Puente.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you were talking with the assistant minister, or I don't remember.
Vice chairman.
The vice chairman.
Yeah.
And he admitted to you that the chairman was ill. I remember him admitting it to you. And then you, I think, told him, unfortunately, this is what's going to happen because of the work you're doing. And I don't know if you might have noticed, they don't come anymore.
Yeah.
That was the end of them.
All right. You speak the truth. It has a way of discouraging people from getting closer to the truth. You too, go ahead.
Daniel asks, was your master paying for retribution for his or other people's karmas at the time of his death?
I don't know. I wasn't there, luckily for me. Whatever he does, I don't dare make guesses. He's much wiser than I am. So it's like trying to guess what a great bodhisattva intentions, and that you only make a fool of yourselves. Okay? So whatever he does, take it at face value. Whatever he wants you to see, whatever he wants you to understand. That's all. For my part, I appreciated that because it scared the heck out of me, to be honest with you. Okay. For monks and nuns, we have this special knowledge about healing. You understand a lot about healing, more than you think. And so it's very easy for us to be tempted to use it and justify it as, well, I heal these, the queen of, the queen mother of the emperor, the emperor's mother. So, because after that, the emperor would build me a lot of temples for me to propagate Buddhism and so forth. So I'm doing for the good of Buddhism. That's very, very tempting for monks and nuns to do that, because it's that they fool themselves to thinking there's a good reason for healing people. Because all they're doing is justify their own greed for temples, for fame, for profits, okay, for recognition, for status. Because they have no wisdom yet. They cannot tell the difference. So that's why I really appreciate the fact that when I first started, I didn't know anything. And just like most monks and nuns, we were pressured into certifying our existence. Why are we here? Why are we sitting here wearing these funny clothes and shaving our head and so forth? And what have you got to show for our work, for our lives, for our time, for our efforts? So it's tempting to try to do something to prove that you are worthy of all these things. And it goes counter to the Buddhist teachings. So when I was lucky in the sense that when I first started, I didn't get the instruction directly from my late Chinese master, but it was stressed to me that we're not supposed to heal. We are forbidden to heal people. Okay, and that's how I remember. And then later I saw how painfully my master died. It scared me, to be honest with you. I said, no money in the world. No matter how many temples you give me, I'm not willing to die like him for you. No way. It's not worth it to me personally. Okay? I didn't become a monk to die this kind of death. That would be stupidity to us. Okay? So I lucked out in the sense that I got the warning, so I never tried to heal people. And I got around it by teaching people how to heal themselves using the hands and eyes. It worked. So I knew that the hands and eyes has healing powers. Okay, but I never tried. Even like it was tempting to show off of that, girl who would come to my Chan class regularly, religiously every single night, listen to my garbage. I had so much faith in an idiot. I was tempted to heal her immediately to show off, but I remember the instruction: you cannot heal. So I didn't. So I let others have a chance, have a go at it. But later, when I saw how my master died tragically, how much suffering he underwent, it really was terrifying to me. It's a rude awakening to me. Is that, I decided it's not worth it. No way I would heal for money, for offerings, for temples. Forget it. So I lucked out. Okay. You too.
Jane asks, so from a Mahayana standpoint, what is the purpose for having medical doctors and hospitals?
Because they do what they want to do. Okay? These people have ideals. They choose that profession, and that's their contribution to society, their style. That's all. We chose to become monks and nuns not to heal people. That's the lesson I learned very clearly from my master's teaching. We didn't become monks and nuns in order to heal people. Even to you extrapolate a little bit more, you extend a little bit more, you see we didn't become monks and nuns in order to build temples either. Okay? We become monks and nuns in order to become enlightened. That's our primary objective. And once you become enlightened, you can do whatever you want. Until then, don't be stupid. That's all. The teaching is very simple. You say, how come the bodhisattvas can do it, and why can't we do it? Because they're bodhisattvas, we're not. We're not the same. Okay? Yeah. Even if you learn to heal, you can't heal the same way that the bodhisattvas can. Okay? Question? Yes, Black.
Yeah, Master. So many Buddhists would recite the Great Compassion Mantra or recite the Buddha's name to help a sick relative to get better. Would that be considered healing?
Yes. That's considered what I call meddling. Okay? The reason people are sick is because they undergo the karmic retributions. And we heal them, we're meddling into the karmic retributions. They're supposed to be sick. And we say, no, you don't have to be sick. So who's going to be sick now? You. Who else? Okay? The simple cause and effect. That's why it's not wise to heal. There's some consequences that you cannot handle. Yes, Orange.
Dạ, mô Phật thưa Thầy, những người bệnh ung thư đó thì khi gần chết đó, bị rất là đau đớn thì bác sĩ thường cho chích thuốc giảm đau rồi tăng cái liều như vậy để từ từ đi trong cái hôn mê thì không có đi đau. Nhưng mà một số người tu á, thì họ cho rằng chết trong sự hôn mê á, thì là bị đi vào cái cảnh giới tối tăm. Thành ra họ từ chối, họ không chích mà họ chịu cái đau đó. Thì con xin hỏi là nếu chịu đau như vậy á, quằn quại đau đớn thì cái tâm nó cũng đâu có an định để mà đi vào cảnh giới lành. Sư thầy cho con biết cái ý kiến.
Master, I know that the people have cancer. Usually before they die, they have to go through a lot of pain, and usually the doctor will use the painkiller to release the pain, and then eventually they will die in coma or something, like they will not have to experience the pain. But those who cultivate, and then they say if you die that way, you will go into a state of darkness, and it's no good. So that's why they refuse to use the painkiller. But my point is, when they endure the pain, their mind will be afflicted. Then it's very difficult for them to enter a good state. Could you please give us some thoughts about that?
Okay, let me ask you before I answer the question. Suppose someone is sick and is in great pain, and the doctor says, "Can I give you some painkillers?" And she says, it's probably a woman in this case. She says, "No, I can handle it. I can handle the pain because I don't want to be numbed. I want to pay undergo my karmic retributions, and I can handle it." What do you think? It's a variation of the same question, but I'm asking you specifically the kind of people who says, I don't want to be drugged up. I would rather face my pain, and it's much better for me. What do you think? Yes or no? If anyone who does that, he says, "I will learn to face my pain, and I don't want any painkillers and so forth," and tell you about it, that person can't handle it. If they cannot handle it, they wouldn't even talk about it. See that? That's the difference. So that's why in Buddhism in general, when you are able to help people, you help people and no one knows. You don't talk about it. You don't tell people about it. You say, I just help that person so that, by the way, I'm special. In other words, no, I'm not taking any money. I'm just want you to know that I help this person, heal this person. It's all free. I'm contributing to society. Okay. And but by the way, can I put you on my list of in case I need future construction of my church or something, I need another wing. You could use some support so that I can do more good for society. Okay. In Buddhism, when you help, you don't say you help. Okay, if you're able to help, you don't tell people. Okay, so that's a rule of thumb. My master, when he helped people, he never said anything. Okay, I think he used to show off a little bit for his own reasons. I heard stories where he would have in China where a lot of sick people, of course, everywhere, not just China, but seems like more in China than in the U.S. That's before the COVID-19 thing, okay? Now the U.S. has more sick people than China, let's face it. So can you imagine Master YongHua being alive? He says, "Hey, you COVID-19 people, come here, okay? Saturday morning until Sunday evening, 6 p.m., I will heal you for free. Okay? Can you see that? You remember those doctors would have franchise, whatever, they go and help people. It's a wonderful idea. So can you imagine that? And that Master Sho would do that, and then people would line up and say, hey, heal, you better now. Okay, you heal, you save, okay, don't die, and so forth. And would heal them one after another, just like that. That's what he's able to do. Okay? He used to do that, I heard. Okay. I think he was showing off. And then he turns around and told us, you don't heal people, you heal. Do what I say, don't do what I do. Anyway, most people who are able to handle the pain would not say it. Okay? Because if you can't handle the pain, okay, you will fall. You will fall most likely to the hells. Because before you die and you're in great pain, you will get very upset. You'll be so angry. So you'll fall to the hells. So for those people who think they can handle it, I would advise them not to be so self-confident. If they fail, they're going to suffer. They're going to be so miserable. They're going to be so sorry. Okay? They are not healers. They're not doctors. What business is of them to do that? Okay? That's nonsense. Okay? He's too young to slap him, huh? And by the way, this morning I said that there's a boy, a baby who keeps on crying the whole time we're meditating. I hope it didn't come across to the mother I was complaining. Yeah, okay. It's perfectly okay, for children to come here and run around and scream and cry and so forth. Okay, it's good for our cultivation, I think. They're welcome. Okay, so remind her of that. Whoever can talk to her, that lady. I didn't mean to complain. I said, but anyway. If you are angry when you are by the time you die, you will not be in good shape at all. You will fall for sure. Okay, so I would take painkillers if I were you. Okay, to avoid falling to the hells. If you take painkillers, chances are that your mind will be numb if you're lucky. Okay, and because at some point in time it stops working. And then the dosage would be fatal to you, so they have to stop giving you painkillers. But at least if it still works and you die, you probably fall to the animal realm. So it's still a lot less harmful to take painkiller shots and get some painkilling help than enduring it when you don't know that you can. Okay? How do you know that you can handle it? You can handle the pain when you reach third stage, Arhat or higher. Below that, it's no guarantee. Period. You don't know what third stage Arhat is? Don't do it. Okay? That's all. Know your limitations. Okay? Don't take chances with your next life. It's not worth it. All right? You too. Go ahead.
Diego asks, I help some people giving them herbs for some illnesses. Am I taking any retribution even if the plants are doing the job?
no, it's science's fault. So the science books will be burned. The scientists will have to undergo retribution. You're innocent. Anyone else? Is that what you want to hear, Diego? It's not entirely your fault, right? I mean, the scientists need to bear part of the burden. Yes, they will bear part of the burden. You will bear about 95% of it. Anyone else? Wow, look at Wei Mountain Temple. It's empty. When the master is away, everyone goes to the park. Look at that. Only my sleeping monks are there, that's all. Okay, anyone else? Huh? Okay, so you awaken to the marks. I mean, things you can observe. That's the middle way. Meaning that you're no longer fooled by appearances. He sounds angry, but he's not angry. Okay? So you're no longer fooled by the appearances. Okay? What's the difference between marks and function? Okay? Function refers to your retribution, the karmic retribution. Okay? Good or bad. It's called function. Okay? Meaning that you're supposed to get promoted, okay, as your karmic retribution. That's called a function. So things happen that way. Okay? It's called function. It's called a mundane truth because you planted the causes. So now you get the results that you want. Everything is dictated by prior causes. Nothing happens haphazardly at all. That's a mundane truth. Okay? Don't be a fool thinking that, that you are special, you are the exemption. There's no such a thing. If you want something, you have to plant the cause for it. If you don't, it's not going to happen the way you want. Okay? That's a mundane truth. Okay? That is the function of cause and effect, if you will. Is that clear? In mathematics, you put in the cause is the input, the function is the karmic retribution, and the result is whatever you get. Okay? That function there refers to the actions of causes and effect. Is it clear? Whereas Marx is basically phenomena. You observe, there's rain, there is a drought. Okay? Those are simply phenomena you observe, things that occur that you can see, that's all. So the middle way is that what do Buddhas awaken to, this middle way here, to the marks? He sees the mark and says, oh wow, it's not just the marks, but this also, it's imbalance. People of the world see the marks, but the Buddha also sees the truth behind those marks. Okay, that's called wisdom, middle way wisdom. Questions or comments? This awakening here, okay? This word here, English word we choose to use, awaken here, okay? especially awaken the function, awaken the substance, awaken the mark. This is very special Buddhist jargon, Mahayana jargon. Only Mahayana, in Mahayana you hear these concepts, and that's called Mahayana wisdom, wisdom about enlightenment. Only enlightened people understand these states. All I can do for you is describe to you what they are in general, so that you understand that it's a different world, different jargon for these enlightened people. It's not something we understand. It's beyond our imagination. We are unable to understand. We can't. No matter how smart you are, no matter how high of the IQ you have, okay? Heard some IQ, some people in the world have IQs 230, 240. Even those people cannot understand. Absolutely impossible. All right? Next, 191. Flower stands for virtues from the myriad conducts. Okay. This is referred to myriad conducts here. Also, another Buddhist jargon is 10,000. 10,000 in Buddhism, especially this has its origin from India concept. Okay, 10,000 for the Indians are a lot. It's a big number. Back then, in the Buddhist time, 10,000. How many people can count to 10,000? Okay, very few people in the Buddhist time can count. Okay, so you children are so lucky that you're learning arithmetic and multiplication tables nowadays. You're a lot wiser than a lot of adults back then. Okay, so 10,000 is a lot, a lot, a lot. Hey, young lady, can you count to 10,000? Can you? See, I rest my case. See, it's too big of a number. Okay, how often do you use 10,000? See, not very often. Okay, so that tradition, you learn about Buddhism, read about Buddhism. 10,000 is a big number. It's too many. Okay, that's what it means. So you have a lot of conducts, a lot of practices. What are these conducts, by the way? This is so Chinese. They said, so Buddhist. Conducts. What's a conduct? Conduct here refers to the act of benefiting someone. That's called conduct. Means, it's short for beneficial conduct. You do something to benefit others. Everything that we learn about Mahayana, everything we learn, everything we teach our people is in order for them to be able to help others. So when they graduate and they descend, they're qualified to descend the mountain, they're supposed to have these conducts. It's supposed to go out in the world and execute these 10,000 conducts to benefit society. That's what Buddhism is about. Is that clear? Yes, at first we shield our people and protect them from external influences, from you corrupting them with money, with fame, adoration, all those things. Cars, boats, airplanes, restaurants, imported cheese, Neapolitan pizza. What else can you feel you can be corrupted by? Money, of course. Okay, so we need to shield, you need to shield your children from the bad influences. But once they become adults, they can go out their own and execute these 10,000 conducts in order to benefit society. That's the difference between us and you. You raise your children in order to destroy society. We raise our children in order to benefit society. So if our children are not willing to benefit society, we disown them, send them over to Reiki. Sorry, just kidding. Okay, so in Buddhism, the bodhisattvas, okay, the bodhisattva conduct, the bodhisattva executes, does these beneficial practices, these 10,000 beneficial practices or conducts. Okay, when you benefit others, what does it mean to benefit others? In order to benefit others, you have to take a loss. Period. If you say, I benefit society, and you're not willing to take a loss, you're not benefiting society. Is that clear? In Buddhism, in our world, it's very clear. In Mahayana world, when we say, when you descend from the mountain, now you're ready, you have the skills, okay? You should descend from a mountain and carry out these 10,000 conducts, meaning that you go down there and you take losses after losses after losses after losses. You're not supposed to invest in the stock market and make a lot of money like Warren Buffett. Okay? Wei Mountain has a question. No? Okay. Forget that. Okay. So the rule of thumb is that when you're saying, if you think, you believe, you're benefiting society, you have these beneficial conduct towards society, for society, okay? And then the rule of thumb is, are you taking losses? The more beneficial, the bigger your losses. Bar none. Because if you're doing something, you have a conduct, you have this practice that benefits you more than others, it's not called beneficial conduct. It's called self-serving conduct, not beneficial conduct. Is it clear? So it's thankless job. If you do Mahayana, you take losses and more losses and more losses. What does it make sense? It's not for the faint of heart. Okay? It's not you're going to explain that to your parents. Yes, yellow.
Is the losses really losses to them? At that point, they're not really looking at losses, right? So it's not the way we're thinking about losses.
I don't know, because the question is a very good question. Are these people look at loss? Do they look at losses as losses? And I say, I don't know, because because I have a hard time imagining why would anyone want to take losses after losses after losses and call themselves smart and have wisdom. That is incomprehensible to me. Yes, yellow.
Could taking a loss mean making donations, monetary donations? Would that be taking a loss?
I'm not sure. Because I'm no longer on the receiving end. I mean, on that end of donation. But as a rule of thumb, if you make a donation and you look at it as a gain, then it's not really a beneficial conduct. Yes.
So if I don't buy 3 pairs of shoes that I want, instead I would rather donate the money to the temple. That's about $100
Where?
or more. I'm just saying in general,
Oh,
as an
sorry.
example.
I thought we were getting some Nike shoes or something for change.
Okay, that would be more like $400 for so many pairs of shoes. But
Right.
But in general, it's something
I
maybe.
buy on used
Well.
second hand. Never mind. Okay. No. My point is that when you take a loss, is that in the spirit that you do these things and not worry about losses. So you deliberately do something, not hoping to gain from it. That's a mindset. That's what I meant by taking losses. But if you only take losses, like the question made earlier, to the communists, that would be sheer stupidity. That's an insult, by the way. Okay? So my point here is that, of course, no one is that stupid. The point about taking losses is that you focus more on making sacrifices. If you look at the Chinese word of taking losses, actually is better translated. Okay, originally it means, zhi kui is Chinese. Zhi kui is taking losses. It's a beautiful concept, but to the Westerners, it is actually could be misinterpreted. So, to me, another better translation would be to make sacrifices. You choose to make sacrifices like a mother makes sacrifices for her children. That's what mothers do, instinctively. You don't have to ask a mother, are you making sacrifices for your children? She says, what kind of question is that? Right? It's automatic, right? You don't think about it. You're hungry, but you give food to your children first. Right? That's what they do without thinking. That's what we mean by making sacrifices. And the Chinese, it comes from a Chinese that means zhi kui. You choose to take losses instinctively, not because you have to think it through and say, well, let me see how much am I willing to take losses. You naturally choose to zhi kui, to make sacrifices. Okay? It makes it easier, especially in Asian cultures, because Asian cultures, especially on the women's side, they're supposed to make sacrifices. Okay? But the same concept applies to the men's side as well. In Chinese culture, zhi kui in Chinese is that you choose to take losses. You choose to make sacrifices in English. Does it help? Because for us Westerners, to take losses is illogical. In our culture, it's illogical. Are you stupid or something? Okay? But actually, we choose to take losses. We choose to make sacrifices. Agree with that translation or concept or not? Okay? So, when we translate zhi kui in Chinese into making sacrifice or taking losses, it's a cultural thing. I still like the Chinese concept of taking losses. It's much deeper than making sacrifices. Okay? Making sacrifices in a Western culture has a evaluation. has a justification there. In the Chinese culture, 智慧 is automatic. You agree with my interpretation or not? I'm not, my English is not my major, okay? I'm a businessman as a major. Okay, so my interpretation is more business-oriented. But making sacrifices, okay, still has, in English, still has this evaluation process, where 智慧 in Chinese, you just automatic. You don't think. If the Chinese shake hands, okay, the Western shake hands like this, right? Chinese, they go like this. That's how I learned from my Chinese friend. Okay, they go like this. So I said, what are you doing? I grasp a hand, and you go like this right away. So I went like this, and so we started wrestling. Because I'm thinking, you see that? I'm thinking. No, you can't beat me. You see that thinking? Whereas for them, it's natural. You know, you go and you go like this. Okay. So that's why I like the concept of 智慧 in that sense, because you instinctively take losses, which we don't have a translation. We in English, we don't have such a concept. Such a concept would be stupid. There's something wrong with this person. Okay? We're judgmental. Yes, Wei Mountain.
Yes, Master. So how would you ever materially succeed in the world if you're focused on taking losses? Let's say, for example, you are, let's say you're head of a company or something like that, and your goal in your career is to make your company succeed. And how would that person be taking losses? Because if they consistently take losses in their career, wouldn't that be detrimental to the company?
Yeah, they'll be fired. Absolutely.
Or would it mean in their personal life that they need to take losses there? So maybe work for the company's benefit, and then in their personal life take losses. Is that how they could benefit other people?
Well, it's kind of hard for me to try to explain to you since you're not an executive of the company, so you wouldn't understand. Okay? You're asking for something. You see, that's what happens when you ask me theoretical questions. I will not answer them because it doesn't apply to you. You're not a CEO of a company. Ask me when you become a CEO of a company. Then I can explain to you. Okay? But at your level, okay? At your level, say if I go to work and I keep on taking losses, I say, no, I don't get to get promoted. Please promote my neighbor. He's better than me, and so forth. There's something wrong with you. Okay? And that's called stupidity. No one will be impressed by that. Okay? What I'm referring to taking losses is that there is certain positive behavior, you will, from a manager's perspective. When you take losses professional, whereby by giving credit to your co-workers, to your collaborators, okay, and advance them and promote them, okay, instead of promoting yourself. That's a very positive way of taking losses. That's constructive, because if your manager, the supervisor, is a good manager, good supervisor, he'll recognize that eventually. Okay? And if that person is no good supervisor, manager, tough luck. Okay? You can't take losses and expect to be rewarded. It's just life. Grow up. Okay? So you take losses and you don't worry about the consequences. That's a spirit. Does it help? If you take losses, you worry how I'm gonna ever advance, make advancement, and so forth. You get advancements, you get promotions because of the value you provide to the company, okay, which eventually is recognized. The truth of the matter, my friend, is that I have this, I advise people on this. Many people approach me about this. I tell them, don't worry that you don't get recognition. What the reality of life is that you give your best and you give it away 100 times. Maybe you get recognized once if you're lucky. Okay? And that's the way it is. Don't worry about it. Okay? Stop being so petty. Because it's more to your professional life than just the recognition in terms of salary, in terms of stock options, and so forth. Even if you are competent, it doesn't mean that you get rewarded. It doesn't mean you're a genius like Einstein. It doesn't mean you be recognized and be rich by the time you die. Okay? It's more to life than just the recognition and profit. Okay? On the other hand, I know too many executives, too many rich and successful people who are totally miserable. It's pitiful how miserable they are, and they are completely clueless on how to solve the problems. I'm talking about very rich people, very educated people that I know personally, and they are miserable at work, they're miserable at home. Okay, they have these problems waiting to explode in the face. And they don't know how to handle it, period. Okay, so it's more to life than just, money and recognition and promotion and so forth. Yes, yellow.
Yes, Master, I have an example of take the loss for my coworker at work when they have a case of patient who needs constant observation or a bleeding and stuff like that, or a busy day. A lot of nurses will skip lunch, don't even have time to pee and run around and help people. By the end of the day, they end up with a UTI, infection, and then, but the joy that they have by the end of the day is a sense of very happy that they have done things to benefit others. So that's the one example that we take loss, but people take loss, but at the end they feel really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing the experience. It happens to everywhere. And the reason, this is why in Chinese culture, they say, 智慧 is you choose automatically to take losses. And for us Westerners, we have a problem with that because it doesn't make sense to us. It's illogical to us. And that's why it's not possible to translate the concept of 智慧 in Asia. But however, in a Western culture, we also have such behavior as well. It's rooted not in intellectually. To me, it seems to be rooted on the morality of those people. Many of these people are Christians, are Catholics. I take it back. Is Daniel there? Okay, never mind. So the reason these people, these people take losses, I know in our society, many, for example, Caucasian people take losses naturally because they're taught to do so by the pastors, by their rabbi, because that's just the way it is. That's the way they're brought up. So they no longer think about it. Problem of us going to school and learning how to analyze, learn how to evaluate, okay, and compare. We're too smart for our own good, so that your thinking mind cannot make you happy. That's what people are not awakened to. We train our mind to think. Depend on our thinking mind. But that dependence will not bring us happiness. So successful people, if you gauge successful people by money, by recognition, I assure you, those successful people are rarely happy, no matter how rich you are, unless they are moral people. I challenge you to find rich and successful people who are, you ask them, when they're about to die, ask them, are you happy? Whether it's a king, whether it's a queen, whether it's a prime minister, whether it's the richest person in the kingdom. Okay, are you happy? Okay. Unless they're moral, unless they are ethical, unless they are spiritual, they have spiritual values, doesn't matter what they are. They could be Catholic, could be Buddhist, could be whatever. Okay, these people cannot know happiness because the thinking mind is never happy. When are you going to wake up to that? I challenge you to use thinking mind to achieve happiness. I challenge you. I'm willing to bet with you $100. That's my limit. Okay? I bet you $100. You can use the thinking mind all you want. You can imagine you're so happy, you're so in ecstasy and so forth. Okay? But ultimately, you still unhappy. You still feel unhappy. Because happiness is from your heart. It's not from your mind. So we learn how to use our mind, but never how to be happy. Agree or disagree? Well, you may not agree with me right now. Do it your way, and by the time you die, you tell me, okay, do you have a happy life? The answer is resoundingly no. You too, go ahead.
Diego asks, Master, does used clothes or furniture carry karmic retributions from their prior owners?
Yes. I buy used only, by the way. Is that a cheap shot at me or what? I don't buy new. I only buy used. Okay. It's interesting. Why is that? The monks and nuns, beat around the bush about this. But the fact of the matter, I just said something that's kind of sweeping, is that if you depend on your thinking mind to be happy, you're going to fail for sure. Okay? Think about that. So you have these myriad conducts, going back to slide 191. Okay, myriad conducts, these countless beneficial conducts. You do beneficial things for others. Okay, one after another. You do so many of them to the point where you don't bother counting anymore. You don't no longer post on your Facebook, I just donated to such and such fundraiser, okay? Cancer or Doctors Without Frontiers, Without Borders, or or the orphanages of Sri Lanka and so forth. You do so many of them, you don't even have time to tell people about it. Who has time to tell people about it? That time right there could be spent taking more losses. You see that? That's what is meant by the myriad conducts, the countless beneficial practices, if you will. That's very Buddhist. Okay? Because of that mindset, okay, there's something called beauty. Do you know that? When your mind no longer calculates and only does good automatically, okay? Your heart changes to goodness. The reason your heart is not good because of your calculating mind. If you keep on doing the myriad beneficial conducts, and you benefit one after another, relentlessly, endlessly, okay, without thinking, okay, eventually you don't think about it anymore. It becomes automatic, becomes second nature, okay? Then you are what is called pure goodness. You're not there yet at this temple. We're working on it, okay? And that's why I'm very proud to tell you, I love it when I see children and young people coming to the temple, because they can sense it themselves more so than you, polluted people, too smart, too logical, too intelligent, too. Okay? The children, they're much more sensitive to it. They come to the temple and they open up, they smile after half an hour, relax. Okay? It connects with the goodness in their heart before their heart becomes hardened by the realities of life. Our children, they learn the hard way too, like we did. Become corrupted. Okay? So that's why I challenge you. Bring the children, notice, or even you don't have children, observe the kids when they come to the temple. They get brighter and brighter and happier, more lively, because it connects with the goodness in their heart. Yes, Yellow.
Master, can you please teach us and advise us on how to raise happy children?
Why do you keep on asking questions like that when I'm childless? I hated to tell you things I've never done before. And now Buddhism to me is not theory at all. I don't know because I don't have any children. I hate kids. When I was younger, hated them. Now I get older, I changed my mind. I want to have 4 kids if I had a chance. But anyway, too late for me. But the point here is how do you raise happy children? You raise happy children by making yourself happy. You don't try to make your children happy, you make yourself happy. Okay? To make your children happy requires wisdom that we don't have. I'm sorry, I may sound arrogant to you, but the reality is that you don't know how to make your children happy because you're not happy yourself. How can you teach someone how to cook if you don't know how to cook? Watching videos? I tell you, I have news for you. My temple, I asked my kitchen manager to bake bread. Thinking I save some money for change. You wouldn't believe the kind of water bill I have every month. I have to pay for water or electricity and so forth. I said, that's instead of, since I can't save water, let me save on bread. So let's bake some bread. Okay? And guess what? She doesn't know how. So what she did is she baked bread every day and made us eat her bad breads. That's what happens when you try to make your children happy when you're unhappy. Okay? You force feed them with bad bread. So anyway, so that's why the truth of the matter is that if you're not happy, you cannot teach your children to be happy. Okay, you have to make yourself happy first. That's our truths. Okay, and that's why it's so much work in that sense, because my master, my Chinese master, Master YongHua, he says one of his main goals, objectives was to improve education. So he created the elementary school at the City of 10,000 Buddhas and high school and so forth. And he put a lot of emphasis on education, okay? And I think it's such important work to do. However, it has a problem. So I tried to imitate him. So I said, let's set up a program for children in our temple. So I sent my disciples up to the City of 10,000 Buddhas and talked to the ex-principal there. What's her name? I forgot her name. Anyone remembers? She was trained by Master YongHua directly. She was the principal of the girls' school. I love her. And she's very, very virtuous. Not nice, very virtuous lady, which I cannot say about most of you. You too cerebral, all of you too cerebral. This lady here, she's very virtuous, a very kind person, kind-hearted. That's what you want around your children, by the way. Okay? You can't make them happy, but make sure they hang around kind-hearted people. Let them learn about kindness first. Let them learn about being respectful first. Never mind about happiness. Not yet. But you can teach them about kindness by exposing them to kind people, exposing them to respectful people. That's very important. Children learn by observing, by absorbing, more than by words. Once you teach them with your words in your mind, there's a lot of contradiction in them. They struggle with that. They think that you are, unfortunately, that you are untrue. And that's how they learn to be untruthful, is from you. Anyway, why do I sound so negative? I'm depressed, okay? That's my only excuse. Well, anyway, I sent my monks, I sent a delegation up to the City 10,000 Buddhas and make an appointment to talk to her, and she showed her around, and then they came back and reported to me. They said, she's very kind, they gave us royal treatment, they love the fact we're trying to do something for our children and so forth. And then we went to the boys' schools, the girls' school. where they were training all these small girls, okay? And they said, it's shocking to us. I said, what happened? He said, like, these nuns who are so sweet to us and so gentle to us, so kind to us, but as soon as the children came, they bark orders. Line up! 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, more or less, boot camp. I said, what happened? And I said, that's a typical reaction. Adults are so scared that their children would make mistakes and hurt themselves, that they protect them first. So these children, from what I heard from my disciples, it's not my fault, okay? This is second-hand information again, and not first-hand information, so it's not my fault, okay? I maybe fed the wrong information. Not my fault, okay? These children are trained to be soldiers, not themselves. And so that's why they came back. They told me, not just one person, people told me, it's shocking to see how well disciplined and behaved those children up there are. The whole group of them. Okay? They went through boot camp or something. Compared to our children in Wei Mountain Temple are so unruly, so loud, so misbehaved. And so I said, which one do you prefer? He said, ours, of course. My point here is that my master never taught him how to do it. Okay? You don't teach children by putting them through boot camp. I disagree with that. Okay? Each child must be helped individually, just like we need to help each and every one of you individually. Because what works for Ri doesn't work for Chengdu. Okay? One is a big shot, the other is not. So you have to treat them differently. Okay? Speak different languages. Does it make sense? That's the way it is. Each child is different. Each person is different. So my point here is that the reason that I personally, when I heard that story, I personally said, no, I'm going to send my children up there. No, not my children. My 4 children, okay? I would not send them up there. Why not? Because they're not taught by people who have wisdom. These people are scared themselves. They're imparting the fear into the children, their fear into the children they're teaching, who turn around and will treat their own children the same way. I'm afraid you're going to get hurt. I'm afraid you're going to make a mistake that you cannot recover. My attitude? Make mistakes. I teach you how to recover. That's how wisdom is acquired, by recovering from mistakes, not by avoiding mistakes. Life is wonderful. Okay? The Buddha awakened to the mysterious wonders because he made a lot of mistakes. Not because he never learned, that he never made any mistakes. He made so many mistakes. He killed Devadatta. He abandoned his wife. Huh? Notice that? Huh? He killed people. He harmed people. He, made his wife pregnant and abandoned her. That's nasty. And he recovered and became a Buddha. Think about it. It's okay to make mistakes if you know how to recover. And that, to me, exemplifies, illustrates how you acquire wisdom by making mistakes, by not being afraid to make mistakes, and learning how to recover from mistakes. You have no fear. You live with no fear. If you have fear at all, my friend, you're unhappy. I don't care how good of a wife you have, you're still unhappy because you're so scared. Oh my God, I'm going to make a mistake I can't recover from. I'm so tired. Can we stop here? Can we get to flower? I've been stuck on this bullet point here for the last hour and a half. Can't even go to flower yet. Hey, dude, what's happening? He's ready for a rumble. Can I finish my bullet point here? Okay. I'm trying to tell you that when your mind no longer calculates and you take losses as your second nature, you don't think, you don't evaluate anymore, okay? And it's a wonderful state of mind where you become, your mind is so good, your nature is so good. Actually, at that point, you radiate light. You radiate goodness from your heart, okay? And what happens is that that's an adornment to your environment. You adorn your environment. Because of the beauty in your heart. Goodness is beautiful. You know? The Buddhists, by the way, they say, you want to become beautiful? You offer flowers. Okay? Heard that before? That's why a lot of people send flowers to the temple. We don't spend any money on the flowers up north. Down there, no one believes that. Southern California, no one believes in beauty. Down there, we believe it's Botox, it's plastic surgery, and so forth. That's beauty. Our definition of beauty is nail salons, hair salons, plastic surgeons. Different culture. Up here, you guys are so savvy. For some reason, I come up here and it's full of flowers every time I come. I say, are we kind of extravagant on flowers or what? I never dare ask. But now today I found out that actually people are, sending flowers. More than one vase. Everywhere. And so up here, people understand that, you want to adorn the way places, that in the future, you send flowers, in the future, you become handsome, you become beautiful. Okay? But let me tell you another trick. For those of you who do not have money to spend on flowers, and this applies to you, okay? Don't change, by the way. Do not change. This is only for discussion. This comes from proof. And I share this with you because it's kind of fun for me. The people who spend a lot of money in flowers, they have to wait for next lifetime for the features to come to change. You know that? Shh, don't tell them. Huh? Don't tell them. I'm impatient by nature. If I want to have good features, I want now. Can we be truthful about this? Why wait till next time? Who knows whether we meet again ever? I want to impress you right now. Okay? So what happened is that I observed my master. Okay? My master, his face used to be like this, and later, as he started teaching, his face changed. Look at his photos, you see. Change. He came from a V shape back to a rectangular shape. And he became more handsome. I didn't like his early, no, I take it back. I can go so far. He's my idol, you know, even though he's Chinese. But anyway, and my point here is that the goodness in your heart will make you look more handsome, attractive right now. Don't wait. It's cheap. I'm cheap. Okay? So your facial features reflect your heart. Okay? Anyway, so flower here, that's how these myriad beneficial conducts are adorning. Okay, you come to the temple, you do something beneficial, you help someone, you help the temple, you help this, you help that. You actually are adorning the way place. Okay? And that's called flower. Flower represents adorning, adornments. Okay? You do something good. Doing something good comes from the goodness of your heart. That's adornment right here. So my point to you is that when your heart dwells in goodness, you are adorning everywhere you are. At work, at home, at the church, at the swimming pool, at the Tai Chi class, you're adorning those places where you go, where you are, where you hang out. Okay? That's what flower means, adorning. Okay? Thank you, everyone. We stop here today. And let's do the rebirth transference.